Good day, folks. This is Greg Judy at Green Pastures Farm. Today I'm coming with you, or at you, in December. It's a cold, blustery, not so much blustery, it was this morning, but the sun's come out. It was single digits this morning, very cold. Just typical December weather. I'm with my 5075E John Deere today, and we're doing some brush stacking. I just wanted to show you the strength of this thing. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, that's a brush pile, and it's all on that 75 horse tractor. I mean, I don't know how many handfuls of brush I would have to get to do that manually by hand. I mean, look at that. That's a brush pile. The boys cut that fence off on our neighbors over here, and I've picked out this spot down here. This is going to be one of our new rabitats, and what we're doing is we're stacking the brush in here really tight all up this draw. There's not much grass in here, and each piece that I get, I'm just stacking it back in here. It's going to be a big U, and it's completely surrounded by cedars. And so on a cold, blustery day, this would be a great place for rabbits, some of the songbirds, ground nesting animals, and our cattle. The cattle can lay down on the back side of this brush pile. It's going to be warm, it'll be out of the wind, and it's kind of like an outside barn. So rather than burn it, I'm going to make use of all this carbon. I can already hear people say, why didn't you grind it? Why didn't you grind it or chip it? I just don't have time to do all that. I mean, to chip everything that we've got to cut, my gosh, I'd be out here probably 3 or 4 weeks just chipping. And I don't have time to do that. So you've got to pick out your battles and what makes the best sense economically and labor-wise. You know, especially in the wintertime, you have shorter days. You got to make use of your time. You don't want to be spending days and days and days chipping when that's not going to pay the bills. What's paying the bills is getting that fence line cleaned so that our cows don't get out, and we're actually opening up some of the brush. We can grow. We got sunlight now going all the way along that fence line. We're going to be able to grow grass where it was shaded so much that the cedars are basically choking out the grass. So we'll be getting one more graze. This is on Judy Farm. There's our Airbnb. We got a customer in there tonight, or last night. Boy, Jan's been keeping that thing booked. Usually in the wintertime is kind of a slow season, but not this year. A lot of people just want to get to the country, you know, and spend the weekend. It is a very low stress, just a place to kind of kick back for a weekend and take a mini vacation. And it is a beautiful view in all directions up there. We've got great big oak trees in the front yard, and it's a beautiful little home that myself and one of our interns, Kevin, and another young fella, Jeff, he was from Florida. We worked on that thing pretty much for a whole summer and part of the winter, and broke it completely down, that whole house, and rebuilt it. And after I got into it, about 3 months, I'm like, man, I could have built a brand new house cheaper than what I could have restored that one for. But you know what? It has the character. There was 9 of us lived in that house growing up. No running water, no bathroom. And so it brings back memories, and I saved it. It was going to fall into the ground because the roof had, you can see the sky from the inside of the house. And you see the sky, you know it's not going to stand very long. But I'm kind of having a good time with this stacking today. And I guess what I wanted to tell you, these grapples, they're a little bit pricey. And for starting out on a farm, you've got limited income or limited money, maybe a nest egg, you could go rent a bobcat that has these grapples on it, or pay somebody to do it. if you could get somebody in for half a day, they can stack more brush in half a day than you can in 2 months. And so time is money, and money is time. So if you're trying to get a fence put in on your farm you just bought, it's got a lot of brush on it, you can go in there and cut it and stack it, paint the stumps, and then pay somebody to come in there with the grapples and move all this brush for you. Don't try and move it all by hand if you don't have to. Now, if you don't have any money, like I started out, I didn't have nothing, did it by hand. And I guess that's what makes me appreciate it more today, having the right tools. But starting out, we sure didn't have them. That's the way farming is. I remember people telling me, well, Greg, you're never going to be successful. You don't have any land, you don't have any money, you don't have any cattle, you don't even have a tractor. That was when I was in the middle of that 6-year divorce. And you know what? I took that as inspiring. I'd go home and I'd work and I'd work and I'd work. I'm like, I'm going to show y'all we will make it. And at that time I was single, and we did. You know, it's just determination, grit, and hard work. If you have a goal, write it down, folks, and work toward that goal. Turn off the TV or get rid of it. And that way you're not tempted to sit in there and idle your brain watching a boob tube, and you could be out doing something that's going to get you further down the road in your future. Like working on fencing or designing a water system or your marketing. You know, there's a lot of people say, well, I'm just going to go ahead and produce it and I'll worry about marketing it later. Well, you can do that. It's kind of nice to get out and see what the market's going to be, what you're going to produce before you start producing it, because there may not be a market for it. Then you throw out money and labor and time, expense and wasted effort, and you can't sell it. So I see that on a lot of things, folks. People get all excited about a certain thing pertaining to the farm, and they go gangbusters after it, and then they find out later there's no market. So just because you're excited about it doesn't mean your customers will be, or potential customers. Make sure there's a good market. There's a tremendous market for grass-fed and grass-finished beef and animals that can make it solely on grass. So we're excited about that. The future is in regenerative agriculture, and there's more and more. You're starting to hear it more and more and more and more. Even Walmart's talking about regenerative agriculture now. It's, you know, the big boys, they're wanting to get a piece of it. It's just the way it works. But yeah, I still got quite a bit of brush to stack here, but it's going quick with this thing. Oh, and yeah, so I've got a pretty good start down here. This is probably 25% of the brush right here. And it's tight. I'm pushing it in there tight so that critters can get in there and make a home, particularly rabbits and, you know, coons, possums, skunks. You got to have a few skunks around, folks, because you need some deodorant, some air fresheners. Not deodorant, you need some air fresheners around the farm. So a person needs a few skunks. And the skunks work after the mice, and they go after the voles and some of those kind of things. So it's all a closed, if you look at it as a big loop with all those interconnecting strands, kind of like a spider web, everything supports each other. And that's what you're trying to do. So there's no grass being grown down in here. I'm not wasting any ground. I'm not going to burn that. 20 years ago, I'd have had a flaming brush fire, and I've been burning every piece I put in here, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use this carbon. It's going to make homes for wildlife. That's what we're doing. So, and we're doing it without taking up grass, that can feed livestock. So, yeah. We had pigs in here, gosh, it's been 4 years ago. And I mean, they plowed it. And you can still see the indentions in here. Of course, it won't show up on here, but man, you can feel it when you drive in with that tractor. You can actually see the bank there. That was the wire. They didn't let them out in the pasture, but man, I mean, they plowed this draw. They really did. So in the wintertime, if you're going to run pastured pigs, you better put them on an area you don't care about, because they will destroy it. In the summertime, when it's drier and you're moving them faster, and there's green stuff to eat, not so bad. But boy, when you lock them down in the wintertime, they really can be destructive. So just be aware of that if you're going to do pastured pigs. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get back on this dude. And heck, might as well start it up and I'll show you how we dump it. Show you how we push this brush down in there. This thing is a beast. Okay, turn the key on. Wait for my light to switch. There we go. And anytime you get out of a tractor, folks, always set the parking brake, because there have been a lot of people killed by tractors that were left in neutral. And the other thing that can happen is the tractor can take off rolling. And I put this thing up in the air just for a picture. Folks, don't move around with it that high in the air. Get it down. There you go. Don't move your tractor with the mast stuck 12 feet up in the air. It's a great way to flip your tractor. Matter of fact, where's that picture at? Huh. There was a picture here showing a guy moving a big round bale. Oh, there it is. No, I don't know where it went. Huh. Oh, there it is, outside. See that? You can have that big round bale actually come right through the window when you have it up in the air. And here's another thing that can happen. On the side of a hill, if you have your mast up in the air, it will flip your tractor over. You've got all that weight out there on the front, so always keep your mast low to the ground. Okay, and I'm going to shift down a gear. I'm going too fast, I can tell. There we go. Folks, I've got probably 2,000 to 3,000 pounds of brush up there. And this tractor, I don't even have the engine. I'm just idling. The engine is idling. This is a 75 horse. They had a 50 horse, an 85. I think there was a 50-95. Should have been a 95 horse, which is more tractor than I can ever use. The 75 horse just works great for, cattle, farm, brush hogging, whatever you want to do, picking up logs. Okay, now I'm getting close to my brush pile, so I'm going to pull up my, see that? Okay, then I'm going to lower it down, and I'm going to jam that thing up in there. Watch this. There it goes. And when you feel it stop, there it is. I felt it stop. Don't go any further. You're just going to break something on your tractor. Or probably break something on your grapples. So when you feel it stop, you stop. Okay? Don't go any further. Alright, so we're going to back out of here. I'm going to go get another load and continue my rabitat, bunny habitat. It's going to be way out here when I get down. It's going to be a massive pile. Rabbits are going to be so happy, and the birds and the mice. I'm just providing habitat. Where before, in my old days, I would have burned it, not knowing any better. So, if you're going to knock down some brush or carbon, use it for something besides just burning it. You don't really need it in the atmosphere. There's enough burning going on out west. We don't need to add to it. So anyway, I'm going to sign off here. Everyone have a good one, and we'll see you next time down the road, and everyone have a great day. Oh, hit that subscribe button on the way out.